All righty. Because I know that we do have some people that are new to our brand entirely and are very interested in Kitoko Botanical. They don't know much about who we are as a company. And for those that are familiar with who we are, you know that formerly we were called, we were going by Affinage or Affinage Salon Professional. For more of a global recognition throughout the world, we have registered our name to ASP, Luxury Hair Care. So we're still Affinage, but this is just a logo that is recognized throughout the world. We are, like I mentioned, around the world with main distributions in the UK, here in the United States, in Vista, California. Manufacturing and development and research and development are in Italy. We have offices in Hong Kong and in Australia. I'm trying to put my little screen, you know, when you see people, away from my screen. So give me one quick second. Okay. We were born in Britain in 1996. You can see the offices here just to get a good picture of the UK offices. This is where we're at. This is where Laura is sitting right now in the middle picture. And then we have Australia. And this is where we are in the world in over 60 plus countries. I particularly love this slide because when you start to follow us on social media, you'll see some people from these countries posting, and it's just fascinating that they utilize the same products that we do in our salons, and just to see how they use everything, it's just amazing. Okay, one of the other things that you'll continue to see with our packaging and our literature is that when people are wondering if we do any animal testing, we have created a shield that is DNA shield that covers all of this. It stands for Defend Nature Always. We never test on animals. We haven't before. We don't do it now. All of our products, from cleansers to color to all of our styling products, are more than 90% naturally derived. And our color is ultra low ammonia. We use the best and most natural components. We try to stay away from anything synthetic, only if there's a use, but we are always using the most natural ingredient. And we are vegan friendly. And our mission statement is to use knowledge, research, innovation, and technology to create superior, safe, leading edge products that will give you passion, creativity, reassurance in all of our salons. And I think that particularly not only with our products, but with the education that we bring, we really try to inspire you. We hope that you always get inspired, not just by what we do, but that you get inspired so you can do it too. We have the capacity to do it. We have the products, and we're all here to learn. And when it comes to the technology and research, we always are looking for the latest ingredients, the latest formulations, so we can provide anything that's on demand. Which brings me to talking about our Kitoko Botanical Color. Having an Infinity as our professional color line and permanent hair color line, we know that we have ultra low ammonia and more than 90% naturally derived ingredients. So why would we choose to create a line or to launch a line that is botanical? Well, a lot of people are looking for that 100% plant-based product or color. So we made sure that we were addressing that need for salons that want to be completely green, for people that are really concerned about anything that has additional chemicals that they don't want. But then again, I just really want to make sure that you know that all of our ingredients are more than 90% naturally derived throughout the line. So we are plant-based, ammonia, Kitoko Botanical, and resourceful free. Sorry, I'm trying to get this screen really away from my. Do you have that problem too, Heather?
All the time.
All the time. Okay. All righty. So, and when we do our research, we always look at the consumer behavior and what's happening within our market, the cosmetic market. And we saw that people are changing perceptions on what products they use. They want animal-free products. They want products that are environmentally sustainable, that are naturally derived. And, you know, as I mentioned, we are delivering that, but with our Kitoko Botanical Color, we are 100% on that. A lot of generations are changing their lifestyles. And I think that we have seen for maybe, I don't know, 10 years that the vegan market has grown. And not just in the way that people eat, but in the way that they choose their products. So I know there's companies creating vegan cleaning products, there is vegan shoes, there is vegan everything. And I think that this awareness is really just growing more and more. So it's just really important that we always address to these consumers. Sorry guys, I got a little bit stuck. Okay, so we are going to review a little bit of who the Kitoko consumer is. We mentioned that is people who want a completely natural hair color line, salons that are green, people with that fit their lifestyle. So we mentioned vegan, but there's also just people that really just want to have everything they own, that it's something that's organic. And we wrote here health, because a lot of people that have sensitivity issues or maybe any health issues where they completely stopped using hair color. I mean, I know that I had some just haircut clients that didn't color their hair because they had some health issues where they couldn't use color. And now this is just the perfect color for them to use. And what do we see that Kitoko Botanical Color does? Not only do we see a way of natural color, but it leaves the hair feeling stronger and fuller, and it has incredible shine and vibrancy. These colors last up to 20 shampoos. They mix with water. They are plant-based. For people with sensitivity, this will be the ideal color to use. For first-time clients, we'll see one of those today in some of the models. Also for damaged or fragile hair, this clumps it up and it gives it just a much healthier feel to it. Okay, these are deposit only. They can cover up to 100% of gray, depending on the amount of gray and how resistant it is. We are free of peroxide, ammonia, resorcinol, and PPD and PTD. So when I mentioned ingredient sensitivities, these are the ones that sometimes people feel that they might be allergic to or they were told by their doctors. Do we have any questions so far?
Nothing so far.
All right. Heather created this slide for one of her presentations, and I think it's just amazing that we can create such a shine and vibrancy with a plant-based color line. So this is just to get you guys more excited about using it. Our features and benefits that we talked about, I just want to make sure that we go over them. It is plant-based organic. It leaves the hair feeling thicker and healthier. It leaves the hair really conditioned with amazing shine. It's only deposit, zero damage, long lasting, and it can be mixed. They can all be intermixable for any shades that you want to create. So as I mentioned, we're going to go through the basics, but it doesn't mean that you can't create and be more of a creative stylist once you start using this line. Okay, now we're starting to go through the system and how it and what it consists of. So here we're going to just talk and mention what you need. If you haven't used it yet, the sachet powder comes in a packet like this. It's 40 grams in each packet. You need purified water. I just have a purified water bottle. I know that Heather likes to use her Brita. It's also more, easier to have something like that. Your primer shampoo. This is the shampoo that you need to prepare the hair with prior to the color, and a kettle or a microwave to boil your water. This is mixed with water, but it needs to be boiled just to make sure that it is added into the mix and be mixed to a warm formulation before you apply it to the hair. It comes in 12 available shades, 2 that are cool and 9 that are warm. These first two cool ones can be added to any mix to achieve more gray coverage. And these 9 warm ones, let me just say the names because they are really what they say is what they are. Nutmeg, cranberry, chocolate, autumn berries, allspice, paprika, dark cinnamon, damson, and manuka honey. The bitter chocolate and the peppercorn will be your darkest shades. And we have the one extra shade that it's the crystal clear, which we call our hero shade. You can utilize it to mix with any of the colors to create a more pastelized look, or you can use it as a standalone treatment for shine and fullness. Again, I mentioned my clients that don't color their hair that now are coloring, but if they really just don't want to use any color, this will be a plumping treatment that conditions the hair, makes it feel amazing. Here's again the crystal clear. In all of the colors, the premixed sachets are based on 7 natural dyes. All of them have been purified and they are preservative free. Why it's important to talk about the purified process of all of these plants is because in the past we have heard of henna being a color option that had metals in it. The henna that we use is metal free. It has been depleted of anything that has extra just to make it more purified. So for our henna, we use it in our color to leave any of the red tones or create oranges for the intense coppers. It also is an antioxidant and has anti-dandruff properties. Cassia is another form of henna. This one has also been used throughout, the plant-based colors, but since it's been purified, it really just has been used in our line to brighten and condition the hair. So when you're looking for what is the conditioning factor in this color, it will be your cassia. Indigo leaves the purpley, violet, blue tones in the color. This is a tropical plant. Walnut husk creates all sorts of brown shades. Bloodwood tree, I did a little bit of research on bloodwood tree. Not only was it used in the past and throughout cultures for anti-inflammatory properties, but it really does create a super rich red dye. In India, it's been used just for to dilute and create most of the colors in clothing. In the heart of the bloodwood tree, you'll see that it's very red and it is actually a liquidy form. Turmeric is a rootstock. I know if we have used turmeric in our kitchen before, we know that it's very yellowy. It creates deep orange, yellow tones in the hair, also for golden colors. And rhubarb is a root, also has antioxidant properties, and it's used for golden tones. All right, here are all the shades again. They are all fully intermixable. Once you have ran your consultation with your client on why you are choosing this color, I want to really emphasize that if your client is completely happy with using Infinity, you don't have to change them to this unless they really want to find something different. I know that you'll see more examples today on what the clients that we have today chose Kitoko Botanical Color. If you are leaning more towards natural, but if you really like the formulations that you get and your client has no problem with Infinity, I recommend that you continue to still use it. All right, after that consultation, now you can go through the consultation of what colors to choose. For this client, Megan, she wants to be a very rich dark brown. She liked the chocolate and the bitter chocolate. Once we know what her reasons are, and I know Megan for sure is vegan, she also wanted to start coloring her hair, just do a very rich color where she can grow it out and have more healthy color and get rid of those ends that she had. And for that, we chose those chocolate colors. Okay, so because we talked about the system, any questions, Heather, before I continue to go on this? No? All right.
Nothing so far.
Thank you very much. Okay, to prepare the hair prior to the color application, we are going to use primer shampoo. Primer shampoo is a 7.1 in the alkalinity scale shampoo that it's still paraben-free and sulfate-free. It detoxifies and it purifies the hair from many impurities. Sometimes there is some buildup of any sort. Well, we'll make sure that the hair is completely prepared. And the most important part about using primer shampoo is that it does not contain mineral oil or wax free. If a person chooses to use any other high alkalinity shampoo that is clarifying, some of the ones that I know of have wax and mineral in them. This is used in some of these shampoos to make that squeaky clean feel in the hair, but that will also be in between you and your color application because it will just coat the hair with waxes. So just so you know, primer shampoo is totally mineral and wax free. Okay, here are the steps of instructions on how we apply Kitoko Color. And the preparation will be depending on the type of client that you have. If you have a person that is coloring for the first time, if you're only doing a retouch, if you're doing normal hair as opposed to resistant hair. So first of all, we know that we need to start by shampooing the hair. You shampoo the hair with Kitoko shampoo. You set them back into your chair and you completely want to dry the hair. The color must be applied to clean, dry hair. And then you can go ahead and section it off. For a first-time client or a normal hair client, your mixture will be a 1 ratio of your color to 5 parts of water. And this will be hot purified water. Okay, so for example, you can use 40 grams, which is 1 complete pack of color, with 200 grams of, hot purified water. If you're using it on resistant hair that has, maybe 30% gray hair, you can use it to 4 parts. So 40 grams of your chosen color and 160 grams of your hot purified water. If you want to add additional or achieve more of a gray coverage, then this is when you go ahead and you add 25% of either peppercorn or bitter chocolate into the formula by mixing it together with your chosen formula. So here's an example. You add 10 grams of peppercorn to 30 grams of dark cinnamon. Peppercorn is a shade that will be chosen for any of your dark shades. And for your lighter shades, you use bitter chocolate. So you can add 10 grams of your bitter chocolate to 30 grams of your Manuka honey. And your water will also be your 4 parts, which will be 160 grams of hot purified water. If there's any questions on this now, we can answer them now. And we also have more slides that are more specific onto formulations. No? Cool.
Nancy, sorry, there was one question that came up by Jen Clark. She said, can you use this with the infinity line? And then I had sent over, do you mean mixing them into an infinity formula, or like sometimes can you use infinity and in the next appointment use the botanicals? So Jen, if you just want to clarify the question on that, we can get you an answer. Maybe she'll respond back in the chat, but if not, chime in whenever you're ready, Jen.
Okay.
Oh, it says to use one and then the next one. So it seems like she wants to possibly use infinity at one time and then, a next appointment be able to use the botanicals. So can you answer our ability to do that, Nancy?
Yes, absolutely. And I think I know where this question comes from. In the past, you couldn't mix any henna, use it before or use it after, not mixing it, but using it with other color lines. So yes, you can. You absolutely can, because all of our ingredients have been purified. You can actually even use bleach through highlights over Kitoko Botanical Colors. So yes, you can alternate if you want to do that with your clients. Absolutely.
Perfect. Thanks, Nancy.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, just to go over a little bit more, you'll get great coverage. I didn't mention that. Feel free to take any screenshots of anything that you will want to see. We always try to get these slides over to you guys, but it is a lot easier if you can get them while the presentation is down, so you write your notes right on it. Okay, so again, for your gray coverage, you add a 25% of your either peppercorn for dark shades or bitter chocolate for lighter shades, mixed with 4 parts of your hot purified water. If you want to achieve extra vibrant results, we have 4 shades here that show that they have been applied on pre-lightened hair. And here you can see how nutmeg, cranberry, paprika, and Manuka honey look on pre-lightened hair color. All right, we're gonna go through the steps of how to apply and how to prepare the hair. So for Megan, we started by shampooing her hair with Kitoko Botanical Primer Shampoo. If your client comes in and she probably has not shampooed her hair for a few days, maybe you might want to shampoo it twice just to make sure that the hair is really, really clean. If you have tried Botanical Botanical Color before and your clients want a little bit more of the gray coverage, you can also shampoo it twice prior. It gets more absorption into the hair when you shampoo twice. All right. All right.
I just want to chime in for 1 second, guys.
Yes.
With regular Infinity, if you're familiar that you're also able to use shampoo before the service, that's something that we recommend. With this particular system, it's absolutely essential that you do. So it's not like you can just skip it because you can in Infinity on a normal basis, but with Botanicals, it's really, really important that you use that primer shampoo, not just a regular clarifying shampoo, because the pH is 7.1, it's going to go in and gently lift open that cuticle to allow the color to be accepted. So if you skip that, the cuticle stays too tight and the color can't actually deposit.
Absolutely. Oh, is there a question?
Yep, there was another question, but I'm going to wait until this segment's done so you can keep explaining this.
Okay. And yeah, it just kept running. But here is the mixture of the color. We'll go over Megan's formula one more time, but that's the kettle that I use in the salon. It's very practical. And it can just be part of your back bar, or some people use a microwave also. Now I can go ahead and wait for your question, Heather. You were muted. Sorry.
There we go. Okay. Caldine had the question, can you use clear as a shine treatment right after applying Infinity?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Well, I was going to say, yes, you can, but now remember that we have to use the primer shampoo. So if you use the primer shampoo before you even applied Infinity color and you didn't touch the ends, you can definitely use it. Heather, this might be a better answer that you can give them. I don't know if you have ever tried that.
Yeah, in all honesty, if you're using Infinity, let's say you're doing a root retouch with this and you wanted to just kind of introduce a clear gloss shine, I would go ahead and use Infinity as an option for that instead, because you'll be able to process everything at the same time. The processing on this is going to be a little bit different, and it's going to require heat throughout the whole entire process. So that would be something that I would consider behind the chair on why I would probably, if I'm using Infinity for gray coverage, I would just stick with a clear gloss through the ends instead of using this option. Again, like Nancy said, it's one of those situations where if you're going to use this as a clear gloss treatment after an Infinity treatment, you would then have to go in and use that primer shampoo, which would really pull out all the color that you just put in, which wouldn't, you'd be fighting against yourself in that case. But I have to say, I use that crystal clear hero shade all the time on clients who are just haircut clients, because it really adds fullness into their hair. It adds a great deal of shine. And if they are on that more natural trajectory, it's just what they choose to do instead. It's an option I have. What I also really love about the crystal clear, especially because I'm in New England and it gets really cold, it actually really helps with static cling. And in your cold environments like that during the winter time, we really struggle with that. Anytime you comb the hair, static just builds. So I find that the crystal clear helps with that quite a bit. So Caldine, you have a lot of options in terms of clear glazing like that, but I probably wouldn't substitute this in an Infinity situation. This would be, I would use more the crystal clear if it was a guest that really specifically wanted something that was super natural. I hope that answers your question.
Nancy and Heather, can I chime in really quick? This is Monica. Good morning.
Hi, Monica.
Hi. Another option that I just thought of right now would be the pastelizer if she's working with Infinity. Yeah. That's a quick glaze over. So,
yep.
Yeah, we have so many clear gloss options.
Yes,
great.
It's true. This is true. And also, I just wanted to add, Caldine, the consistency of Botanical Botanical is very unique. It's very thick. Sometimes, if you're using it right after your roots, it just doesn't really blend in. When it really is, this is just a complete different system. So, I mean, if you are doing it after, like Heather mentioned, you can add it in, put it in, but you are also putting them under the dryer again. So that would be the thing. So I think I will go with Monica's answer too, and one of the other shine options.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so here are the instructions for application. So now that we made sure that the hair has been completely cleansed and dried, we will look at who are we applying. If we are applying a person for the very first time, we're going to apply for the root first. Before I go into that, I want to make sure that Once you are mixing your color, you want to do a body test to see that you have the same body temperature, so it's not too hot and it's not uncomfortable for your client. Some of the times, this color can also get cold. We need to make sure that the color is applied when the color is still very warm. Some of my clients have felt it, and it is actually not bad at all, even when it's like, you know, a little bit, like I let it wait for like maybe 3 to 4 minutes. It also needs to be left for 3 to 4 minutes so the colors can activate when the water has been added. So that is still very important, which gives you the chance to let it to cool off a little bit more to body temperature.
And you'll really be able to tell when it's ready, right, Nancy? Even when you mix it, it's super, super liquidy when it's too warm. And then you test it on your skin and it feels much better. And then the consistency does change. It almost tells you when it's ready to be used, which is kind of unique.
Yes, it is very cool. For first-time clients, we apply to the root first and then immediately to the ends. You then cover with plastic, set a dryer for gentle heat, and leave them in for 45 minutes. We have tested this many times, and the 45 minutes are crucial for the full deposit. If you are doing just a regrowth, you can apply it to the root area first. You set them, same process, plastic cap under the gentle heat, 30 minutes. And after those 30 minutes have passed, you can either reheat in a microwave your same formulation or prepare a fresh one to make sure that it's warm and apply it to the ends. And then you process for another 15 minutes. And this will ensure for the full 45-minute application. Okay. These instructions here are very important. It is important to use the color when it's still very warm. If you're using it for long hair and you feel that the formulation is getting a little bit cooler, you can go ahead and reheat it again. Or what I do in the salon is I apply to the root first and then I mix a completely new batch. So if you know how much it takes for a root application, then you can make a different one when you're ready to apply it to the ends, because it is very important to apply it when the color is warm. Also, when you see the color in your bowl, the color is irrelevant until what it really looks like when the hair has been washed. So just trust the process. Most of the colors will look very dark and kind of greeny. Remember, this is a plant-based color, so it will give you those colors, but just trust the nature of it and you'll get your results that you're looking for. It's also important, and I know that it's explained in the next slide, but it is important that you tell your client not to shampoo for the next 48 hours. This will allow for the color to fully deposit into the hair. Okay, and here is Megan's application. You can see that I tested on my wrist. And because she is a normal hair and first time, actually she's been a botanical color. She was in our conference and we did cranberry on her. So she continues to use botanical color. Then you apply it immediately to the ends. We cover with plastic. We set our dryer to gentle heat and we let it process for 45 minutes. Remember, her formulation is bitter chocolate and chocolate. This is just for a rich chocolate result. Okay, after the color has processed, we want to make sure that we allow it to completely cool down. The hair has to be cooled down, so we take off the plastic cap, we remove the dryer, and we let it cool down. You don't really have to set a timer, just make sure that you touch it and there is no more heat really coming out of the hair. That will allow for the color to fully deposit. I like to rinse with cool water. Let me tell you that a lot of my clients like to really get the cool rinse after they have been under the dryer for 45 minutes. And in this case, it really is preferred because the color will completely seal into the hair and you're not washing out with hot water the color that you just applied. So this is really important. You can use any of your cleansers from Kotoko. Then you can use your balm. You want to maybe towel dry a little bit. Use Kotoko and leave it in for a minute, and then you can rinse it well. And again, do not wash for 48 hours to fully let it lock in.
Nancy, how important is it to use the balm?
The balm, the conditioner balm.
Yeah.
It is really important, especially for Kitoko Botanical Color, because the hair has been shampooed with the primer shampoo. We roughened up the cuticle. It was already under the dryer, and this color is actually it's like sand after it dries. So you want to make sure that you add the moisture from the balm every time you do this color. Absolutely important. Yeah, you can even add any of the masks too if the hair feels, but the hair should feel at this point more hydrated because the color already infused the moisture and condition. So it really will leave it a little bit more conditioned. But yeah, it's absolutely crucial.
It's
if you don't use it,
oh, sorry, go ahead, Bethany.
If you don't use it, will it affect the color?
Something you should consider is that the botanicals, the Kitoko balm is pH balanced. So it's going to go in and it's going to bring that pH of the hair back down, which is going to be really crucial to keeping that color locked in. Otherwise, that cuticle is going to stay at a 7.1 pH, which leaves it open. So you might notice more fadage that way. So that in its own is a really good reason to go ahead and use it to bring that pH back down.
Yeah, thank you, Heather.
There was one more question, Nancy, if I could jump in real quick for you. We had a question saying, can you reheat the color in the bowl or should you always mix a fresh application?
Yeah, the bowl is microwave safe. Oops, sorry. Yes, it's microwave safe. So you can totally use this bowl in the microwave. Yes. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, now that we have processed the color, this is Megan. We allow the color to cool off. For the rinsing part of this color, I know that normally with Infinity, we emulsify the hairline to remove it first, or we emulsify it to remove it. With Kitoko Botanical Color, you don't emulsify before adding water. We want to make sure that the color stays in the hair, and emulsifying might actually pull some of that color. Remember I say that this color, after it's processed, is very grainy. So the removing, the emulsifying will actually cause it to be removed. So seal it with water. Again, I mentioned I like to use cool water that will just seal it, and then you can use the wipes to remove any staining that they have. You have anything to add, Heather?
I do. Yeah. Am I mute? Okay. We had a question from Naomi. She said, I was wondering about the color, not the bowl. So I think she means, can you reheat the color in the bowl, not the fact that the bowl is microwavable? I think that's what she's saying. So if you want to unmute Naomi, you sure can. Oh, perfect. She said, yep, that was what she meant. So yes, as that color starts to process, say you're doing the root application, you go to pull it through the ends and it's getting too cool. You're going to want to take that mixture, go ahead and pop it right in the microwave. I like to do it in 15-second increments because it really does happen quite quick when it does happen. So 15 seconds, pull it out, mix it up again. If it still needs it, pop it in another 15 seconds, pull it out, and then you can absolutely reuse it. If it gets too cold, it will not properly deposit. So it is really important that you do keep it warm, and just make sure that you're obviously not using a metallic bowl when you put it in the microwave.
Right. I think that's why I mentioned the bowl. I think that's why I mentioned the bowl is that if your mixture is already in the bowl, you grab the same bowl with the mixture inside and pop it in the microwave. So yeah.
Can I ask one more thing along that line?
Yes.
Okay, so if we over mix and then we have another client coming in 3 hours, is that color, can I reheat that color as is and reuse it, or just mix up a new formula? I'm just wondering the shelf life of once it's already mixed.
I think I'm going to leave this one to Heather.
Yeah, I feel like I wouldn't reuse it only because, well, number one, we're in COVID land. So you don't want to, for that reason, I wouldn't do it. And as well as just the fact that every client's going to need to have their formula tweaked to make it more specific to them, I wouldn't do it. I just think I would keep each formulation separate to each client personally.
Okay, if I'm working on someone and I'm working on her for, doing maybe different processes and it's a half an hour gone by, is that mixture still good to be reheated?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
If you're doing it with one client, absolutely. It isn't a situation where I would mix something in the beginning of the day and then use it again later. Okay. So yeah, you just want to keep reheating it.
Yeah, I would just wonder about the potency, if it loses anything as it reheats.
No, and what's really, the reason it doesn't is because unlike regular color, right? Color, that oxidation is going to happen.
Right.
And once that molecule gets big, it's big and we can't shove it into that cuticle. But with this, there is no oxidation. There's no ammonia content or anything. Really, at the end of the day, Kotoko Botanical Color is just a stain. So if you took, say, our Color Dynamics, which is a semi-permanent option, and you left it in a bowl all day, even 5 days down the road, right? When you put that on the hair, it's still just going to stain the hair. So same thing. This is really just straight pigment that is designed to be just a stain. Even though it's natural in composition, it will still stain no matter what.
Okay, thank you. That was so
You're welcome.
helpful.
Good.
Okay, so for cleansing and conditioning, I chose Kotoko oil treatment, shampoo, cleanser and balm for Megan, as well as leaving in some of the oil treatment in her hair to style and to reduce any of the blow drying time. This will also just add some more of the nourishment to continue with that. And as a reminder, all of our Kotoko Advanced Hair Therapy formulations are paraben-free and sulfate-free, and they are made with some botanical extracts. So this will be the perfect line to use in any of your aftercare. According to whatever need your client wants, then you can use any of the other ones. Okay, so for Megan, after we shampooed her hair, we prepared it and restructurant and oil treatment and some super sleek cream and also some heat define. I like to always talk about their formulations. About their aftercare systems, because it really does matter what they do with their hair. So always make sure that you are recommending the correct styling products and the correct hair care for their home. All right, and now we just style her. Here are the hair color remover wipes if they have been left with any stains. This is the new packaging, so I just wanted to introduce that to you.
I had one question come up, Nancy.
Okay.
Jen Clark wondered, is there very little fade like compared to Infinity?
It lasts up to 20 washes. So really, you will see some of the fade actually, because Heather mentioned there's no oxidation, there is no ammonia, no peroxide. The fade of this color is actually in the same kind of cast, but in different fadage in the same tonality. So you'll get the fadage in a slower form, but with still the same type of colors. I think that the fadage, I can't really compare it. I don't get a lot of fading with my Infinity as much as, you know, knowing that this color will only last me 20 washes. So maybe Heather, if you have something else to add.
Yeah, they're just totally different, Jen, where your Infinity line is a permanent base. So it's really going to go in and that color is going to stay in the hair. If it fades, it's going to do so very, very gradually, but its intent is really to go in and permanently change the color of the hair. Whereas botanicals, because it doesn't have ammonia in it, it's not going to go in and clean out natural pigment. It's simply going to go in and stain whatever is on the hair right now. So it's kind of going to work like your vivid colors, right? The more you shampoo, the lighter and more pastelized they'll get. They don't stay forever. So this is an entire line that really is meant to fade out over time. So if you were to take, say, the paprika color, which is that beautiful, beautiful orange, and do 10 shampoos, it's going to start to turn more apricot in nature, and then it's just going to slowly kind of pastelize out of the hair, where Infinity won't do that. So those are the main differences in terms of fadage between Infinity and the botanicals.
Thank you, Heather. Did we already? Okay. Okay, now we will start to see the blow drying process, and you can see the richness of the color from just the pure blow dry. We flat iron her hair, and these are the results. Then we can actually compare her before and after, and how rich the color, how rich and shiny, and the condition of it is just amazing too. All right, there is Megan after. Here's the color outdoors. You will always get different lighting giving you different results, but they're still very rich and shiny. And in her before and after. And once again, if you want to take a screenshot of the formulation, We used the 20 grams of chocolate with 20 grams of bitter chocolate, 200 grams of purified water. Remember, she is a normal hair type of client. I mixed 2 bowls of the same formula, one for her root and one for her ends, fresh, just to make sure that the ends will be still, the formulation will still be warm when I apply it on the ends. She has a lot of hair. We thinned it out, we gave her a nice haircut, but she still had a lot of hair.
There's so much love for that formulation. Everyone's loving it. It looks, everyone's saying it's so shiny. It looks so beautiful and rich.
Yay.
Woohoo. There was one other thing I wanted to bring up, Nancy. It was a question about heat processing. It's so important that your heat, when we say gentle heat, it's specific that it's between 104 and 108 degrees. If you happen to have a color processor, which you can go in and just kind of adjust digitally what the temperature is, it's super important. If you guys are using traditional hooded dryers that are used for like roller sets traditionally, what you'll need to do is find out if that heat falls into 104 to 108 degrees, whether that's on high or that's on medium, because every dryer will be a bit different. So a really good way to check that is they make those sticky little things that you put on like a child's forehead in order to tell what their temperature is. So that's how I would test your dryer. Go ahead and put those on your forehead, or if you can tack it to the inside of your dome dryer, sit underneath there and find out if your high setting is higher than that or lower than that. If it's not hot enough, it's not going to fully deposit that color. If it's too hot, it can start to kind of liquefy that and the color won't stay in place and it will give you kind of shoddy deposit. So really important that you guys know what the temperature of your dryers are in order to process a color like this. Okay.
Yep. Thank you for mentioning that, Heather.
You're welcome.
Think that in experience, when the dryer has been too hot, the deposit is not the same, because we, that color does liquefy if it is too hot. Remember that once you start to mix it, that liquid form you see will be the same that you continue through the process. You're not allowing the color to completely get inside the hair. Thank you for that reminder, Heather.
You're welcome.
I was just thinking that maybe Bethany can also benefit from that explanation that you just gave. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, and now we're going to pass it on to Heather. Heather was, she was the one to do this formulation, so let's let her hear.
Awesome, thank you. So this is my client, Paula. Paula is always game for anything. So anytime there's something new, she's always the first one to jump on it. So it's been a long time since she's been seen. As you can see, she has quite a bit of gray grow out. She's about 100% there. Her hair isn't overly resistant, but she's definitely got some gray hairs that are pretty wiry. So I went in with 10 grams of chocolate, 10 grams of bitter chocolate. That bitter chocolate part of my formula was absolutely essential to getting adequate gray coverage. If I didn't use the bitter chocolate, she would get more of a translucent finish and not get full gray deposit. So, and then we added in the 20 grams of autumn berries, which makes our ratio 1 to 4 parts. Went in with 160 grams of hot purified water. I use it out of my Brita filter, and then I go ahead and pour it right into the kettle. Mix it up. Once the temperature is good, go ahead and apply. And then for her ends, once that root application was done, I went and mixed up her mids and ends. We went in with 20 grams of autumn berries, 10 grams of chocolate, and 10 grams of crystal clear, because I wanted some of her old highlight that you can see there to kind of pop through a little bit. I didn't want to have a really dense deposited finish. And then because we were not doing gray coverage in through the mids and the ends, I left out the bitter chocolate because I didn't need that gray coverage there. I chose to go in instead with 10 grams of the crystal clear, again, just to kind of dilute that pigment a little bit to give it a lot of beautiful natural dimension, and then mixed in at a 1 to 5 ratio with 200 grams of the hot purified water. Processed for 45 minutes under heat, and she loved it.
It looks great.
Thank you.
It looks great. Okay, and this one was done by Candy. Candy, if you want to explain this one.
Sure. This client actually had cancer, and she was going through chemotherapy. She lost all of her hair. As you can see, she's completely white. And the formula I used was 10 grams of bitter chocolate, 10 grams of Manuka honey, 10 grams of clear, and then 120 grams of hot purified water. And she was under the dryer for 45 minutes, and it's like perfect. She just wanted a little bit of color to her hair, and actually was almost perfect to her hair color before all of this happened to her. So she was really happy.
Yes, she looks very happy. Thank you, Candy. All right. This one is my client. Now I know that I talked about some people wanting options for their lifestyle. She definitely is one that likes to use natural, but also Sumi was pregnant at this time, and she wanted something that was just, you know, she knew that it was going to be okay to utilize any type of color by her doctor, but she wanted just to make sure that she was going to use something that was going to be safer. And this gave her peace of mind. So for her roots, we did 10 grams of bitter chocolate, 30 grams of allspice, with 160 grams of hot purified water. And then for her ends, I mixed a fresh batch of 10 grams of bitter chocolate. You can see that she needed some more deposit, 30 grams of allspice, and 200 grams of hot purified water. So I did a 1-to-4 at the roots and a 1-to-5 on the ends. This one I will let Heather explain it, since it was done by the team during our conference. This is Michelle.
Awesome. Thanks, Nancy. Michelle was a super cool model. She was down for anything. She had a really good base to start with. So the fact that she had some pre-lightened stuff down through her ends, we wanted to balance that out a little bit and bring a little bit more richness into it. So we chose to go in with the damson. She had essentially no gray that we had to worry about. So we went in at a 1-to-5 ratio. So we had 40 grams of damson and then 160 grams of the hot purified water in through her root area. And then through her ends, same thing that I had talked about doing with Paula, we used that crystal clear to kind of dilute out the damson a little bit, make it a little bit softer so it didn't have such a deep deposit through her ends. So you could see some good tonal stuff happening there. So that was done again at a 1-to-5 ratio with 200 grams of hot purified water. Got great coverage. It looks beautiful. There was no muddiness in through her ends or anything.
Mm-hmm. All right, and just to remind us of who the Kitoko consumer is or what they're looking for when they're choosing this color line. They're looking for natural vibrancy. This is Heather. They're looking for some natural shine. This is a shine treatment. For peace of mind, you know, after any health medical issues, and for their lifestyle. So I know that Michelle is also vegan. So these are the perfect consumers for this color line.
Nancy, we had a question about the color dynamics. We have a question that said, like color dynamics, if you use Botanical repeatedly, will the color become more permanent?
I believe yes. If you use it before the 20 washes, you'll definitely get more color deposit. You'll achieve more of that color intensity. So especially with the reds, I know that for a fact that will happen. All of the rich colors too. And what is your experience with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Same thing. Remember that it's just a stain. So anytime you stack color on top of each other, just like if you were going to do vivids, over time, that stain would stick to each other to the point where it would become permanent. So the same situation here. Absolutely.
Yep. Thank you. All right. Here is Tiffany. Tiffany, this is the one client that I said for the first time she's going to try red. She's normally been a highlighted person. She's very low maintenance, and she wanted to try a red. She has 25% of gray, and she likes fullness. She had been experiencing that hard water at home, so she wanted to make sure that she just had something that was rich and shiny for her hair, and we tried it with Kitoko Botanical Color. On her root formula, we used 10 grams of peppercorn to cover some of that gray, 30 grams of the cranberry with 160 grams of hot water. And then right after, for her ends, we used 30 grams of cranberry, 10 grams of crystal clear, and 200 grams of hot purified water. I'm showing this bowl here so you can see that now it's a little bit more red than what you see here on the roots, right? Now that we have more cranberry, it overpowers a little bit. She's also afraid that it was going to be so vibrant as we saw some of the reds that we saw in the first slides. So she wanted to dilute it, so we did the 10 grams of crystal clear.
I think this is a super good slide, Nancy, because you can really see the consistency of that product. It doesn't go on like regular color, guys. It's like mud, right? Mud. It's so super natural. And it smells like that too. It really smells very kind of earthy. And I think I forget who it was, maybe Amanda remembers. It smells like some kind of tea.
Yeah, matcha.
Matcha tea.
Yeah, matcha.
Yes. Yep.
It's the perfect description of it.
It is.
Very good. Awesome. Yeah, I think somebody here from our salon is here, and I know that they love the smell. So it's really earthy. Okay, and I'm just as a reminder of what we do after the application and after the process time. I'm sorry, after the application, we cover with plastic. We set the dryer to medium heat. We let it process for 45 minutes, and we allow it to cool before we rinse, shampoo, and condition. For Tiffany, I mentioned that she has fragile hair. We always use Age Prevent to cleanse and to condition her hair because it does repair and nourish some of those breakage. It reduces the breakage, it strengthens the hair. So it just goes along the same needs. So any of the needs that your clients want is how you will choose any of your aftercare. And here's her before and after. All right, and here's indoor.
It's so good.
She was like, ah. She didn't think she was going to love it.
What I love about it is when you look at her before, she's got all that blonde stuff where you can tell obviously there's porosity that plays into it. But then like you just went in with a straight red and it is just shiny and beautiful and pigmented really well. It doesn't look hollow or anything or translucent. It looks nice and rich. It's awesome.
Thank you so much. And you know, this image, I'm glad that you mentioned that part right now, because it is important to know that where you have darkness, because it is deposit only, you will get a darker shade of the color you're applying. And once you apply it on the lighter hair, you'll get the vibrancy of what the colors do. So when you look at the color chart, you'll be able to see always that we have pre-lightened hair and on darker tones. So this way you will be able to show your client, and I don't normally show the shade guide of Infinity to my clients, but this one I do, so they can see the true vibrancy of the color when it's applied on pre-lightened hair. All right, and I wanted to mention that on her gray coverage, it gave us 100% coverage. It gave us illumination in any of the, baby lights that she still had on her hairline with the red color. So we really achieved a 100% on her. And again, I want to mention that you achieve great coverage depending on how coarse, and she definitely doesn't have coarse hair, how coarse or how resistant, and also the amount of gray. All right, okay, that's the last one. All right, this one's our next one. Kylie. Kylie's been also a model for ISP for a little bit now, for a year. And she's just a fan of all of our coppers. She is vegan also for her lifestyle, and she likes the dimension that she had when Heather did her hair when Heather was here. But she wanted to do it with something that was a little bit more natural. She really fully now embraced that vegan lifestyle, and she was excited to get this color. Dimensional copper is dimension is very cool to talk about when we're talking to stylists about this color, because it just keeps us away from just thinking that it's just a very basic deposit only color, but we can do so much with it. So with her formulation, I did a 40-gram paprika on its own with 200 grams of hot purified water. This is a formula for normal hair. She has absolutely no gray. And from the mids to the ends, to pop more of that vibrancy on her pre-lightened hair, I used 20 grams of paprika, 20 grams of manuka honey, and 200 grams of hot purified water. And this is how vibrant her hair came out. Her processing time under the dryer was just a little bit different. She really wanted to get a little bit more depth on the root. And so we processed the root first after applied on the root for 15 minutes. And then after the 15 minutes, I added the fresh formula from mids to ends for a total of 30 minutes. And so overall, 45 minutes. And again, that picture of the muddiness that you can see on the color, on the hair. And for Kylie's aftercare, we use Volume Enhanced Cleanser. This is what she loves to use at home as well, and she's just used to it. It gives her a lot of volume. It makes it weightless, and this is what she chooses. So these are the other two, cleanser and balms that you can choose depending on your client's needs for replenishing, for fragile, damaged, chemically treated hair, etc. You can look more of that and choose that whatever your client needs. And here's another before and after of Kylie.
I can't get enough of that color.
It's unbelievable, right?
And she wears it so well. She definitely wears coffers beautifully, but my God.
Yes. Okay, and for her styling with Kitoko Art, we used volumizing souffle for her blow dry, and ultimate finish hairspray on each strand to give it Marcel waves. All right, also just wanted to mention that all of our styling products from Kitoko Art continue to have those botanical extracts, and it's very unique with UV protection and natural ingredients. All right, here's just a quick slide of what we recommend, tips just to remember for anything that you might want to know that it's a little bit extra. If you have a client with extra, if you already tried the formulations that we recommend for gray coverage, but if you have a person that is extra coarse with over 30% of gray, you can mix your ratio from 1 part to 3 parts of the hot purified water. It will be thicker, but you might be able to achieve more gray coverage. That's only if you have not achieved gray coverage results with the formulations that we provide. You also, as I mentioned before, you may be able to shampoo the hair twice prior to the application. If you want to get more creative and use it as a toner, I tried it using it 1 part to 10 parts of hot purified water. You can actually just imagine what the 10 parts of hot purified water do. It makes it really liquidy, so it's very easy to apply if you're applying it on the shampoo bowl. Just make sure that you really towel dry the hair, and you can apply the color from root to ends. Put a plastic cap, or in this case, I've been using cellophane wrap just to kind of wrap it as if I was doing a towel, and leave her at the shampoo bowl for about 10 minutes. And here's a note, heat always adds longevity. So if she really wants to just have more longevity on that color, then you can add more heat. You can set her for 10 minutes under the dryer. Another reminder that the hair should not be washed for the next 48 hours. We always recommend using the appropriate hair care to ensure the longevity and quality of the hair color after we have applied it at the salon. And another reminder is that if you need to soften or pastelize any of the colors, you can use crystal clear, and everything always following manufacturer directions.
Just a note on that, when you guys are going in and using crystal clear to soften and pastelize, just like with regular Vivids, the more pastelized you get, the less shampoos you're going to get out of it. So for example, with that toner mix that Nancy's talking about, you're not going to get 20 shampoos out of that because it's so heavily pastelized. So just make sure that when you choose it, you know what you're expecting for an outcome as well as your guest. So I would particularly love to use the toner mix on someone who's a blonde who they think they want something different, but we know that they really don't. So on something like that, it would give them a chance to kind of try out a different shade of, say, like a rose blonde or something like that without as much commitment. So just keeping that in mind, that you have that expectation too, that the more diluted out you do those pigments, the less shampoos you're going to be able to get in terms of wear on that.
And that's the example, Heather. Here it is, the rose gold. So
great.
Yep. So yeah, so you do get the pastelized look, of course. And yes, less shampoos, especially if you're applying it on even blonder than a level 8. This was a swatch that was a level 8. So if you have, if your client is not ready for the commitment. Now, again, I really just want to remind you guys that if your clients are very happy with the toners that they're using from Infinity, this is not a switch that we're doing. Oh my God, we have a, her camera's on. So sorry, I got a little disturbed. So yes, I'm going back to the slide. So yes, if your client is not really committed to a color or to a change of color, this is a perfect way to use it. It is not to be switched for any of your infinity toners or any of your color dynamics or your hot shots. This is just if your client is that client, or if you have a salon that is completely green that wants to only use plant-based color. All right. Here is
sorry, Nancy, there was a quick question.
Yes.
It said Caldine wanted to know, is there a mixture for toning yellow out of gray hair?
Toning yellow out of gray hair.
So the only thing I can really think of is that the damson is violet based, which would help tone yellow out, but you'd have to have that pastelize so heavy out in order to be able to get it to neutralize that yellow, that I don't know that I would use that.
Right, and actually, Caldine, I was just about to talk about this formulation. Don't use this one if you're because it will turn a little bit greenish. But I wanted to say, if you want to neutralize warmth, you can use peppercorn, but it's very greeny. Now it just depends on how to mix it. These two swatches on the screen right now are they were used as a tool. So when I was thinking about what to do to neutralize any warmth on any blondes, this one has become a really great tool. But when it's mixed with crystal clear, when it's being diluted, okay, good. If you want to dilute it with more water and use it in a much lighter formulation, so the water will make it more pliable to see it really quickly if it's turning the colors that you want. But I think that with Heather's idea of damson, because it is purpley, with a little bit of peppercorn. Now we have to remember that peppercorn is the strongest and darkest shade that we have, so it will get more pigmentation into the color. So by looking at this slide right here, or this swatch, this was the control swatch, and this is how green it got with 10 grams, with 10 parts of hot water. So it still has a very heavy, dark green color to it. So I just want to make sure that you guys know that. Good. All right, here's one of my latest favorite cocktails. 2 parts of damson, 1 part of cranberry, and 5 parts of purified water. The control swatch was a 7. If you want brighter, richer results, I know that color dynamics is absolutely okay to use on clients, but if the client again wants to stick with botanicals, then this is something that you can do. So you can add it on lighter, like way lighter hair, and you'll get a lot more vibrant results. All right, this slide created by Heather can show you also the vibrancy on pre-lightened hair. She used paprika on 7 and 8 swatches, and you can see here how much vibrant it gets as we get lighter in tonality. And for the cranberry, here's also how light it can get on a 10. I'm sorry, how vibrant it looks on a 10. Any questions? Any more questions?
Nothing in the chat right now. I really urge you guys, because this is such a totally different kind of hair color, and it's really hard to kind of envision what this is going to do. If you guys have swatches, I really recommend you kind of get in there and start kind of testing and experimenting with this. I know that Nancy has said this quite a few times. This is not meant to replace Infinity Color on your everyday color usage. That's still going to be your permanent go-to. This is a line that's specifically generated to be used for those clients that are incredibly earth conscious, eco-conscious. They have a lifestyle that demands something like this. You can't take a formula like an 8.0 and go ahead and just convert it to this. It's not going to be like that. You have to remember that this is an overlay of color. It's not going to be able to match any of the infinity shades, shade to shade. So keep that in mind as far as your expectations, okay?
Thank you. And if we can just remind everyone to stay muted. All right, thank you very much. All right, so these are the tools that we provide if you are getting one of the kits. We have, the kit consists of all of this. If you are getting This package, the bowl, the brush, and the whisk comes in it, and you can also order them on their own. Here's some more support items. And these are actually very, very, very great to have. If you are turning your salon or having additional services, being a vegan hair color salon, then you can have some of these stickers, window stickers or flyers at your front desk so people know that you offer this service. Here's the introductory kit. As I was mentioning, it comes with one of each shade pouch, your botanical color shade guide, your bowl, your brush, your whisk, one primer shampoo, which is 1 liter. It goes a long way. One product brochure and a window sticker. Here's a branch display. This is for back bar use only. And here's our collection. All right. These questions have actually been some of the questions that I get from just clients on their own. They are not used to having or seeing a natural based color line in a professional line or something being like this offered in the salon. So this is important because we have seen more professional color lines that have launched plant-based colors. So we just want to show you how it compares to other ones that are in the professional market, just so you can see where we stand. And we have been able to see that for being who we are, like in providing our color, we have key ingredients that exceed what other competitors use. So we have 7 natural dyes, where competitor 1 and competitor 2 only have 3. The key claims, which are really important, is what the color does. We are 100% organic, plant-based, ammonia-free, resorcinol-free, 0 damage, free of ammonium peroxides, free of parabens, PPD, and PTD. It can cover up to 100%. Coverage lasts up to 20 shampoos, and it's vegan. The competitor number 2, you know, it gives you maybe half of that of what we just mentioned, and 50% of the gray coverage. They don't actually talk about gray coverage. They talk about more gray blending. And the last one, sorry, I can't see my slide. Let me move it a little bit. And for the last competitor, it's only one key claim, which is being herbal and vegan. And for the number of shades, we have 12. The competitor number 1 has 10, and competitor number 2 has 3. No, sorry, I can't see everything on my screen. Yes, 3. Okay. So with all of our classes now that we're going virtual, we like to have a user spotlight to show you what people are doing around the United States, since we are, or America, Canada, and the United States, to show you what people are doing. Melissa Peace is a girl that we just found each other on social media. And she told me that she's using everything in her salon is green. And she's been utilizing Kitoko Botanical as her color line. This is her primary color line. And these are 2 colors that she sent for us to see in her results. Here you can see her peppercorn for gray coverage with paprika, and then for the ends, paprika and allspice. For her roots, she used peppercorn and cranberry on the second slide, the second picture, and peppercorn and cranberry. So this is the first time that I actually see a cranberry being deepened. I have never combined these 2 on the ends. I've only used this on the roots, and I think it's a really pretty rich mahogany color. So, you know, I love to just share ideas and people's Instagram pages so you can identify on what people are using and that you are not afraid of using it too. And Melissa wasn't able to make it to the class today, but she's a 100% user. Okay, so Kitoko Botanical Color offers a completely new coloring service to their salon clients, new and existing, who are seeking more natural options. Will complement salons, existing salons and their services, and offers additional natural service. It will increase your revenue. Remember that Crystal Clear provides an opportunity to offer a natural shine treatment to clients, along with other colors making them more bespoke, and we talked about the pastelizing. Some questions and answers. We can open at this time, we can open up a little bit of the questions and answers. I will go over all of these questions. So if there's anything that you might want to, that you're wondering, I can answer them now. Is there any questions on the chat right now, Heather?
There's not any right now. I just want to remind everyone, if you're scooting out before the question and answers session, that you should put your email address in the chat, and then Laura will get over a certificate of completion for this class. You'll need to include your full name, first and last name, for that certificate. So again, please, before you guys head out, make sure you do that so we can get that certificate off to you. But other than that, no questions. We're ready to go for these.
All right, thank you, Heather. Okay, so here are some of the most frequently asked questions. Is the color metallic free? Yes, it is. We talked about this being purified, all the plant ingredients, and especially for the henna is metallic free. Can you use bleach on top of botanical color? Yes, you can. We say that on all of the shades except for bitter chocolate and peppercorn, because it does leave a little bit of a green undertone. So if you're going to be able to tone, as you now know, you can tone really quickly at the back bar with botanical color, you may be able to use it, but just knowing that you will get some underlying results after you bleach. Is the base of the color cool or warm? All shades are warm with the exception of bitter chocolate and peppercorn, which are more on the cool side. And crystal clear is completely neutral. What is resorcinol and why is it good for ASP Botanical to be free from it? Resorcinol is a chemical often found in traditional permanent hair color, which may cause allergies. So I know that we've gotten these phone calls and technical calls. Only if the clients all are allergic, they will know. So don't worry about those ingredients ever boggling your mind, because we don't really need to get into those ingredients unless you hear from them. So if you're using Infinity Color and you're happy with them, you don't have to worry about any of those things. Okay, so why does the hair feel thicker after coloring it with botanical color? Because due to the penetration of the ingredients into the hair shaft, they plump the hair from the inside. How long does the color last? It lasts up to 20 shampoos. Remember that it is deposit only. Does the number of applications make it more permanent? And we answered this earlier, yes, it does. Why does it have to be mixed with purified hot water and not tap water? Because the water, and this is a great question, because I know that we didn't answer it during the presentation, but tap water contains minerals and metals which might affect the result. So this is really, really important. So if you don't know if your water that you are drinking or your bottled water doesn't say purified water, then you might not be using the right one. Just make sure that it's purified. And you don't have to always buy the bottles. I know that the Brita does just the same. What would happen if I do not use the primer shampoo? Heather went over this one, and the results would be severely affected with no guarantees of results or coverage and longevity. So really, really important to use the primer shampoo. Why do the shades have different percentages of organic? We use a small percentage of direct dyes to enhance every shade. So because everyone is different, you'll get an 87% or you'll get a 100%. Does that make it clear? Yep. Okay, so if we are done with any questions on the color, I can go over on talking about more of what we have happening for 2021. Thank you. Yep. All right. All right, more upcoming education. In January, this month, on the 11th, we have Tracy Devine giving us creative coloring and cutting. And the 18th, we have Heather with the lightener lineup. I know that this one is going to be just so beneficial and great because we've had lift and tone, but this one will give you specifics of each one, of each of our lighteners. All right, on January 25th, I will be doing an Artistry Essential class, which is behind the chair cut to color. So, you know, some ideas, tricks, and tools that we can use on our everyday for cut and color. And on the 1st of next month, we have Tracy Devine again with the balayage and hand painting art. So these will be the classes that we have coming up. Okay, and here you can follow us. And also I just wanted to give a shout out to everybody who provided visuals for this particular presentation. Presentation slides and pictures by me and Heather, Candy, Kristen, both Kristens, and Tracy Devine is actually all of the images that were done from the professional pictures were hers. So this is what we have. So, and that is all we have for you guys today.
Thanks so much, Nancy. Again, guys, we'll be hanging on a couple minutes if you have some questions that have come up since the presentation.